As Jeremy Otto just told us here in Detroit, $20 million a year for 5 years. Who's got it better than John Harbaugh? Nobody.
Right
$20 million?
Wow. I mean, it must be nice when you get fired and before you make it to the parking lot, you have 7 messages saying, hey, give us a call. By the time you start the car up, you now have 9 teams requesting. And at the time, it was only like 7 openings. So 2 teams were like, we got a coach, but we'll get rid of our coach for you.
Right. John Harbaugh does answer the question of, well, how can we hire this guy as a head coach? He's never been an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator before. He wasn't. He was a special teams coach for Philly, got the Ravens job. Andy Reid, before he became the Eagles coach, he was never a coordinator. So it's not an exact science about who becomes really good head coaches or not.
No, I think a lot of it, too, is also right place, right time, the right team. Like, you look at Dan Campbell with this team, this is his – I mean, he's taken over not just the team but the entire mindset of the city.
Correct.
That they are dialed in, they are focused, they play for him. I mean, every team in the city is now embracing the term grit, and you want to be tough and you want to be this and – yeah, you're right. There is no, well, you got to go through this coaching tree and you got to come from this pedigree. It doesn't matter where you come from because you can win without being an offensive coordinator.
And speaking of offensive coordinator, the Lions are obviously on the hunt for an offensive coordinator. They've already interviewed Mike McDaniel, the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, who is interviewing for other head coaching jobs and probably will for some other OCs as well. Zach Robinson, who's the OC for the Atlanta Falcons, he's going to be interviewed. Arthur Smith is the new name today. He was the OC for the Pittsburgh Steelers, former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
That one is a real head scratcher because the biggest thing that he's known for is running horrible offenses. With the Falcons, you had all the pieces there, and you got Bijan. I know, but what if we use him as a decoy? Or, hear me out, you turn around and hand the ball off to number 7 and let him do his thing. Steelers, like, their offense, I think the only reason they brought him in was because, hey, teach us what was wrong with our defense when you came in here and you kept running the ball on us with a team that just couldn't run the ball all year? What I think Dan is secretly trying to figure out what was wrong with the defense. So let's bring him in as an interview, find out, and then we send him on his way.
I think he has his history is running as a run game. Now, he didn't give it to Bijan enough when he was in Atlanta. That's for damn sure. And what the Lions need to get back to is running the ball a little more, right? So maybe that is the reason.
I mean, he'll be good for radio because I think, man, people will turn on him very quickly, like they did in every other city.
Well, he's considered a Nepo baby, too. I mean, his father was the head of Federal Express. And that's how he got his job with the then Redskins.
Gotcha.
He did play like lineman at University of North Carolina. So he has played the game, but yeah, he's Fred Smith, the late founder or CEO of FedEx, which that's where the field was named in Washington, FedEx Field. So you think Daddy helped him get a little gig? Absolutely. There's another name that I have that would probably be, shunned, so to speak, because he doesn't have a great track record, but he's still kind of young in the coordinator school because he really hasn't been a coordinator before. He's coached around in college, in high school, and he spent some time as a quarterback coach. And that would be one Josh McCown. Now, you can sit there and say, well, he's the Vikings quarterback coach. JJ sucks. Okay. He did get a little better towards the end, but he was also the quarterback coach last year. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sam Darnold had his career changed under the auspices of, yes, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, but also the quarterback coach, known as Josh McCown. So it's just, I'm not saying they should
No,
go
no,
out
no,
and
no,
hire him. It's just a different name out there.
But Stoney,
that he's going to get interviews.
does it take away from the fact that Darnold then went to another team and continued the same success, that maybe it was just him? And like if Darnold had fell off,
Right, maybe.
then I can see where you're like, you know what? Yeah, this guy. But he then went out to Seattle, and they're the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Correct.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's part of it. You know, Clint Kubiak, a really good offensive coordinator in Seattle. I think that's pretty. I think McCown's got a shot. I don't think they would hire him, but I think it's just another name to consider.
See, I wonder if Lions fans have built it up that if it's Mike McDaniel or nothing. Like, if you don't get him, then you're going to be disappointed with whoever else
The Lions
they
are
get.
too cheap.
That's what I wonder for Lions fans. 248-539-9797. Have you talked yourself into McDaniel or bust? Like, do whatever you need to do.
Right.
This job is better than any head coaching job that's out there. You got to bring him home, because I feel sorry for whoever the OC is if his name is not McDaniel.
I think if he takes a head coaching job, I don't think fans will care. But if
you see that he took
another OC job,
He
that
became the Philly OC.
right, or I know Tampa is someone interested in him as well, him and Baker to work together. I don't know. There are others out there, but I don't know. Look, I'm maybe biased, but this is a perfect situation for him. I mean, indoors, can run his offense. He doesn't have to worry about any of the BS because his head coach has the personality to be the head coach, as opposed if he goes, let's say, to Tampa, Todd Bowles, with all due respect, is kind of a wet noodle that he...
See, and I wonder, would Campbell just basically say, here you go, son, run the offense. I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to stand over here. I'm going to help guide this defense along. But this offense, that's all you. Here's all the keys to the car.
Right.
Here's their phone numbers. Make this work.
Right. I'll decide whether we're going to go for it on 4th down, but you have the 4th down play ready.
See, here's the thing, and what you just said, Stoney, is the reason why it has become McDaniel or bust for the fans, because you said this is a perfect spot for him. The perfect spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, though? If you think about it over Philly, okay, running back here, running back there, who could arguably be better than the one you have here? Quarterback. I'm not going to say who's better, but
I will. Theirs.
I'm not going to say
theirs.
But
theirs is not
talent.
Jalen had a bad year, but go ahead.
And then you get to the other weapons. Okay, kind of even in my mind as well. What's not even right now is the offensive line.
Right, because Lane Johnson's going to come back healthy, you think.
And so with the concept.
Goddard and
well, Goddard's a free agent. They got to bring him back, and that's not going to be easy considering how much money they're paying other people.
And there's questions right now in Detroit, yes, that you have to fix it. But then there's also questions on if Brad Holmes is going to do what he needs to do to fix it. You never have that question with Howie Roseman there.
No.
So I think the Eagle job is better. But everyone here thinks, oh, we have this, we have that. It's the perfect job.
Well,
is it?
Well, you know why the people think that, and I understand, and I somewhat agree. Even with the, lack of a better term, crappy OC stuff that went on this year, they still scored a hell of a lot of points, and Philly didn't.
Which leads me to another problem I have. Let me see if you're going to say what I'm going to say, David.
Are
we focusing on the wrong side because of that?
No. Hold on. I like what you're about to say, but hold on.
Go ahead.
The points, Stoney, were empty calorie points. You padded the stats against the bad teams. You went out there and scored a ton of points against the state of Ohio. You did. You did it early on with the Bears when they were figuring it out. You dropped the 50 burger on. You did so much stuff.
But the Eagles didn't do squat offensively. They didn't do squat. They were, believe me, they were awful offensively, and they have weapons.
Well, and the other thing with the Eagles, to add to this, David, the Eagles, when they go outside to bring in their coordinator, guy turns into a head coach. When they go internal, he gets fired.
Right.
If they go outside to get him, chances are he'll be back doing something else. Now, I know we had Ben Johnson leave, but the Eagles have a history of OC to head coach.
And as much as Hurts struggled this year, I will give him the benefit of the doubt that it was his fourth OC in 4 years. Two of them, Kellen Moore and Steichen, became head coaches, and the other two were the internal hires that you're talking about, and Brian Johnson and Patolo, and they didn't work out. So, yeah, and that's why I like the fact that the Lions, at least for the offensive side of the ball, are not looking inside.
But, David, go ahead with your point.
I just feel that the Lions are focusing on fixing the wrong coordinator, the wrong side.
Oh, boy. Because,
Stoney, you said it. They were top 5 in almost every offensive category. And, yes, you can probably say that empty calories, most of them are. But I think that no matter who the OC is because of the weapons here, you'll still be top 5.
Yeah.
Being 1 doesn't really matter to me, but you're top 5.
I mean, here's the thing.
But what happens is the DC didn't adjust on the fly the way he should have. He did it twice. One time in the Baltimore game. At halftime, he made adjustments, and they did the QB spy, and then they just destroyed Baltimore in the second half. And then the other time he adjusted was the last game of the year.
Season's over.
What happens in between that? You need a DC that can adjust, not just say, oh, I like my scheme, I'm sticking with my scheme, but you lose these guys on the field, you got to adjust. I think they're looking to replace the wrong side.
248-539-9797. Take your calls, your texts. Valenti Show with Rico on 97.1.